Hi there, welcome to Transform Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2024 Sunseeker 2440 SF. Notice up top there you do have an observation camera. Right down below you do have a 2-inch receiver as well as a 7-pin plug for while you're towing anything. In this back corner of the unit, you open this up. It's where you're going to find your RV starter kit, as well as a big storage compartment. Right here is just your fresh water fill. So if you're wanting to fill that fresh water tank, you just got to thread a hose onto there, turn the hose on, it's going to start filling your fresh water tank. And if you open this compartment, you do have this little door here on the bottom. If you open this up, it does allow you to run your sewer hose right out of there. Just putting that back on for whenever you're traveling, keep that dust out. You do have a little drain plug here for if you were to get water in here. Notice this little valve threaded in here. That's just for your airbags in the back. You do have one in the same compartment on the other side. Just always making sure whenever you're adjusting that, you're doing the same PSI on both sides. That way you do get a nice even ride. And let's say you are to be hooking up something behind your vehicle, or you have a lot of extra weight inside here, you can top up those airbags just for a little bit of a better ride. This right here is just your black tank flush. So the way that works is with your sewer hose connected and your tank open, you can thread a hose onto here, turn that on, and it is just going to flush that tank out just for the purpose if you're getting false monitor panel readings or you're just noticing an odor. Just gives that tank a little bit of a flush, trying to keep it that little bit cleaner. And right on your right is just your city water connection. If you're out of sight with service, you can just thread a water hose onto there, turn on the water, and it's going to pressurize all your lines without the need to run your water pump. And then you do just have your sewer outlet. Threading this off, just twisting that, taking note of those 2 ears there. Those are going to be the same 2 ears that your sewer hose has. You can just line them up with these notches here, twist it on, locks it into place. Then you got your gray valve and your black valve. You're always going to want to empty that black tank first, as it's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with typically cleaner water, which is filled from your showers and your sink. You do have an exterior shower right back here. Closing this lid. You do have your gasoline fill. And then right up here, you do just have your main power plug inlet. It is a 30 amp plug. Lining these 2 notches up. Give it that 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. Right above that is just a cable satellite inlet. If you follow that cord back, you come back to a standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this, and you can plug right on in. But let's say your campsite doesn't have this, or you just want to run your fridge on your driveway at home. We do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keeping in mind you're going down to 15 amps of power, so you won't be able to run something like your air conditioner off this. Inside this compartment here is just some more storage. That compartment is also storage, and if you open up this one, it does give you access to your seatbelt hold downs, as well as some more storage space. Under this compartment here, you just turn that knob and you can flip that open. It does give you access to your generator, where you can manually start it here, or let's say for whatever reason it's not starting with the button, either button. You do have a emergency pull start right here. I will show you how to start it once we're inside the unit, because you do have the ability to do so from inside and not having to go under here. Then I'll just take you to the other side of the unit, to the back. Once we're at this side of the unit, of course inside here, you just have some storage space. I will mention that most of these compartments all do have these drain valves, so that if you were to get water in there for whatever reason, you can empty them. Inside this compartment, opening this up, you got that other airbag fill I showed you earlier, and then you just have this little door you can open up, and that does give you access to your bypass valve, with a little extender hose tied off in the back there. And then this is just your low point drain as well as your fresh tank drain. So if you open that up, it is going to drain both your cold water line and your fresh tank. And then right below the flow, underneath the unit, that little red line there, that's just going to be your hot line low point drain. So if you're going to take that off, it is just going to drain all the water out of your hot line, but not emptying your water heater. You do have to empty that separately, which I'll show you in a minute. Keep a note of this furnace exhaust here. Whenever your furnace is running, this is going to be blowing out hot air. Also, you do have a pre-mount for a Lippard stair system to get up to your roof. If you want to check your seals a little easier, you can talk to our parts department about that. Inside this compartment here is just a nice exterior TV. That's going to be just like home. The remote for that is inside. And then underneath that is just your main propane supply. So you got your fill section there. To turn that propane on, you're just turning that valve. Turns propane on. Everything else is for when you refill the tank, which you probably won't have to worry about. You do have your hot water here service port. So you're just loosening that, turning that tab, unlocking it, you can pull it right off. It does just have two little holes to line up on these notches. Whenever you first get to your campsite, you are just going to want to give this valve a pull. There should have been a shot of water that comes out of there. This unit's currently empty, so there's no shot water coming out of there, so it wouldn't be safe to fire up that water heater. When you do see that shot of water, it is telling you that the tank's full and ready to be fired up. I'm going to go over a reset procedure once we get inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right here, and then the inch and an eighth drain bolt is just right down here. If you loosen that off, always making sure you relieve the pressure in the tank first. That will drain your hot water heater system. Opening up your door here, first thing you're going to notice right on your right, you do have your fire extinguisher. And then on the other side of the stairs here, you got your battery disconnect. So with that battery disconnect switch off, the batteries are disconnected from the unit. Now, whenever the batteries are disconnected from the unit, none of the 12 volt system inside the unit is going to work, whether you're plugged in or not. So you do always just have to reconnect those batteries. So with that battery disconnect on, the batteries are connected to the unit. The battery disconnect switch off, the batteries are disconnected from the unit. You do have a porch light as well as an awning LED light right there. Just those two red buttons there that illuminate when on. And then you do just have your awning extend. So you're going to hit that. It's going to extend that awning out. You're going to know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tubing and the flap hang down. Unfortunately, today we aren't going to have enough room to get that awning all the way out. So that is about as far as I'm going to be able to take it today. But if we ever start raining, you take any arm, front or rear, and just pull down on this arm, and it's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you do like that better, you can do the same thing with the front arm, just making sure you always push those arms back to straight whenever you go to bring that awning in, so you don't run the risk of bending anything. So I will say now that whenever you go to run your leveling system or your slide outs, the parking brake does have to be on and the key does have to be, and the RV does have to be running. So I'm just gonna go do that quickly. So right down on the floor here, you're gonna notice just your auto leveling system. That works pretty simple. You're just gonna hit that auto level button and the unit's gonna automatically level itself. Now if you hit that button there, you can go into a manual mode and you can manually adjust the jacks as you would like. Typically most people just leave that auto level up, and then whenever you're going to leave, you can just hit retract jacks. It's going to retract all the jacks. This up here is just going to be your solar controller. There's not really much I need to show you there other than the fact that you can go into your different settings, although we do have that all set up for you already. Up top above your head here, you have your main monitor panel system. as well as your living room and your kitchen main light switch. To get that slide out, you're just hitting that button down. The slide out's going to start making its way out. Once that slide out's fully extended, you're going to hear the lines, the clicking of the motors. And quickly I will show you that the back slide runs out the same way. It's just the button back here. You're hitting this button out, the slide out's going to start making its way out. You know those slide outs are fully extended when the motor cuts out? In. I'm just going to cut that ignition. In the front area here, you do have your main cockpit for whenever you're driving. This is a Ford chassis. You've got your stereo system right up there. This is going to be for your rear monitor panel, as well as you got 2 cameras on either side of the unit. Up top, you do have a bunk system. So the way that works is you do just you also have a booster seat for either seat if you were to want that. You take this top mattress piece while you're sliding that TV out of the way, and you can just drop it down into place. And now you have a bed up top, as well as this ladder, which just pulls out and locks into place like so. But whenever you are traveling, I do just recommend clipping that back into place so it doesn't go flying around anywhere. Inside this binder here is just going to be the keys and controllers and all the manuals for this unit. And then you do have the TV. Now the TV, inside the TV is included the stereo system. So you're just going to hit that power button. It's just going to pull up this menu here. You can, if you hit this button, you have your different inputs. So this option here, this EVT, BT stands for Bluetooth, and then FM is obviously FM radio. So you're just going to click that, and that's going to be what brings you up to your radio. And then down below, you will see that you have the entertainment TV option. So you can switch between those, which is Bluetooth, the pairing for the Bluetooth, so you can pair your phone up. And then you have your FM option, and then you can control your Zone B speakers with this button here, turning them on with that button. And then if you hit like a source button, it'll show Zone B. So Zone B is currently reading off FM, but if you can change that to Bluetooth, or you can have the Zone B speakers just running off what the TV is playing. And then you got your tune buttons, and then just your volume up and your volume down. Hitting that on button again just turns it off. Other than that, it's pretty much a regular TV, so that's pretty much all I'm going to show you there. Up on the wall here, you'll notice you have a little door here. Inside there is just going to be your cable satellite outlet, and right next to that, you can't really see it, but there is a button, and it just turns that little green light on. Whenever that green light's on, it's telling you that the antenna is on the roof. I typically leave it on all the time because it does also improve radio frequency. And then right next to that is your monitor panel system. So again, you have that slide out button, which I already showed you. Turning that button on just turns on your driver's side rear light. And then you got your water heater option, so you can fire that on either electric or gas. If you do fire it up on gas, this fault light's gonna come on. The water heater is gonna try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, you're just gonna have to turn this button off, go hit that reset button I showed you earlier, and turn this back on, and it'll try relighting itself. Then you got your water pump button. Turning that on turns your water pump on. And then you got your Arctic pack, which is your tank heater system inside this unit. Just so if you're running into that extended camping season, you can turn this on. It'll try and keep those tanks a little warmer. You also do have a generator on board. Hitting that stop prime button first before you fire the generator just primes the carburetor system. And then hitting that start button once that is done, after a few seconds, the generator is going to fire right on up. And then to turn it off, you're just hitting that button again. and it'll automatically turn itself off. Inside the kitchen area, this little door here is where your garbage is located, so you have this nice chute right up top. This little black cap here is a wireless charger. If you have it open like that, you can also pull it right up, and it does give you access to some USB and USB-C plugs, as well as 2 GFI plugs. And to get that back in, you are just hitting the red button and it just slides back into place. You got your sink with hot and cold water. I will mention that if you take these 4 screws out, it's a false panel, it's just going to fall out. It's going to give you access to your hot water heater bypass valves. Inside here is just some storage, being mindful of your plumbing and your water lines. Up on the underneath the cabinets, does just turn on your 2 lights under here. To get this stove lit, you're just flipping that cover back, glass cover back. You're gonna turn this blue light on. Now, turning the blue lights on does just turn on the igniter system for the burners, and it fires right on up once you turn it over to high and hold the button in. Now, this does run off propane, so one thing I will mention is just maybe keep that window open whenever you are using it. But there is an LP detector, which is located right behind you on the ground here. Propane is heavier than air. If this guy ever starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane to the unit, open up the windows, and just air it out that little bit. You got your convection oven right below. Inside your dinette area, there is some storage space underneath it. And then this dinette table does turn into a bed. You're just pulling this bottom leg out by loosening this lock screw. This bottom leg would come off, and then you can put your tabletop on the 2 ledges on either side, and then just take your back cushions to fill in the center, and you have another bed. All the blinds in the unit do kind of work the same way. You're just pulling it down. It'll stay where you leave it, and then just giving it one pull, it'll retract itself back up. You also do have another little strip light inside the area here with some covered space up top. You do have a 12-volt Furrion fridge. Opening that up with a freezer below. So the way these do work is you got this little indent here. This is a safety latch so that can't come open while you're traveling. You do actually have to press it to open it up. That goes both for fridge and freezer. Then up top is just your controls. So if you hit that button for 5 seconds, it's going to turn on, and at any point in time, you can hit these buttons, and it's going to allow you to change the temperature. So you got fridge and freezer. Goes all the way to 10 and back to 0. Wherever you want to set it is your preference. And then for the fridge, the same thing. And then to turn it off, you are just holding that power button again. Turns itself off. Right down on the ground here, you do have 2 110 plugs, as well as it looks like a USB and a USB-C plug. You got some storage underneath the bed. And then this is your fuse/breaker panel. So whenever a breaker trips, it is just going to sit in the middle, so you have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And then you do just have all your fuses down below that. With this travel strap here, if you're undoing that, always making sure that this is locked in with the travel strap whenever you're traveling, so it's not sliding around. You do have a little privacy curtain for whenever you're in the bedroom. Just making sure that does fold up nicely while you put it in. And then you can kind of just snap that button into place, and it locks it into place. You got 2 switches right on the wall here. The one switch does just do a closet light, which has some nice closet space, and then this switch here does just turn the light on inside the bedroom. You do have 2 reading lights above the bed that have 2 options. You're just tapping that silver center button, and it is just going to turn on a dimmer light. Hitting it one more time does just turn on the main light, and then again to turn it off. Whenever you are running your air conditioner, you do have 2 options for how you run it. You can run it with the louvers open, or you can run it with the louvers closed. With the louvers open, it's going to dump all its air into this main living space. With the louvers closed, it is just going to use all the ceiling vents you see above head. And whenever you're running your furnace inside the unit, it is just going to move all its air through the floor portals you see around. Just keep it in mind whenever you are running the furnace. That's going to be the only time it's using the floor portals. When you're running the heat pump, it does still use the air conditioner. Right back here, you do have your fire exit. So the way that works is you're just going to take those two latches, pull them up, and you can push that window out and hop on out. This is going to be the fire exit for the unit. On the wall here, you do have another TV for the bedroom, and right below that is just your thermostat. So if you hit that button once, it's going to turn on the fan, and you have the two options. You got low and high. Hitting that button one more time goes into cool, so now there's actual cooling involved. Hitting that button again, you go into your heat pump option. Now this air conditioner, fortunately, is also hooked up with a heat pump, so when you're on the heat pump option, the furnace is going to be blowing out hot air, and hitting that button one more time will then engage the furnace. So this unit does also have a furnace on board that runs off propane. Hitting that button one more time turns off the heat pump and leaves the furnace on, and then one more time just turns it off. At any point in time, you can push the plus or minus buttons to change the temperature. Inside the bathroom, you do have a sliding door here that just locks into place. To release that, you are just pushing down and you can lock it. But just make sure whenever you are traveling, if it's not closed and latched, that it is latched while it's open. The light switch for the bathroom is just on your right. You do have a fan overhead. Just turning that opens that up. Hitting that button, the button next to the light switch, turns on the fan. The fan does also have an individual switch if you were to want to use that. Then inside your bathroom area, you got your shower. These are glass panels, so you're always going to want to make sure whenever you're traveling it is locked into place. Just unlock it. You've got hot and cold water in there with my shower head. You got your sink with hot and cold water, nice medicine cabinet. You also have your main GFI plug, so if you ever have a plug that doesn't work, this would be the first place you look. You got reset on the right, test on the left. Whenever you got that green light on, it is just telling you have a successful circuit. And then just right behind you, you do have lots of storage space as well as your toilet. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.